Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here. Yeah.
Sequel set 11 years after the Terminator, young John Connor, Edward Furlong, the key to civilization's victory over a future uprising, is the target of the shape-shifting T-1000. The Terminator sent from the future to kill him. Another Terminator, the revamped T-800, has been sent back to protect the boy. As John and his mother go on the run, the boy forms an unexpected bond with the machine. So yeah, about damn time I talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And with Terminator Dark Fate still kind of, somewhat hot off the off the line anyway, I thought now was a good time to actually dive back into the original classic Terminator films. I did already talk about the first one some time ago in a QMR, and now we're here to talk about Terminator 2 T2. This is the Skynet version, by the way, or Skynet Edition Blu-ray. I know some people get really picky with like what's the best transfer out there or whatever. I'm not sure, but for me it looks pretty good for the most part. It has both versions on here, theatrical and the extended cut. And just quick, I think the extended cut is actually the best because it adds certain scenes which we might talk about later maybe. But you can find lists of it if you Google it and such, but it adds scenes that kind of fleshes out the characterization even more, and you kind of question why they wouldn't have been in the regular version anyway. I guess at the time they just really wanted like a very fine, pacing to it. And I don't think it really disrupts it at all. It just sort of gives even more meaning to all the grand action of it that's so memorable these decades later. But yeah, again, if you guys didn't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the big poster behind me, is one of my very favorite actors of all time in general. I think he's the greatest action hero of all time. He's been a hero of mine since I was a little kid. I remember writing a report on him for school. I always just seeing how inspiring and just what a great persona he is on screen as well. And T2 is probably his biggest movie, and I've been revisiting the Terminator franchise ever since Dark Fate was about to come out. Even watching the Sarah Connor Chronicles and everything like that. And I hadn't seen T2 for quite some time. At least properly. You see it on TV here and there, or you see, clips of it, on, plenty of videos on YouTube. I haven't actually sat down and watched it in some time, which is kind of embarrassing. But watching it again, I can safely say not only is it easily the best Terminator film, I think it is one of the greatest sci-fi action movies of all time, or one of the greatest action movies of all time, one of the greatest movies of all time, whatever you want to say. I think it lives up to all the hype and the legacy behind it. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time now. It's been solidified watching it again. It's pretty much a nearly flawless movie. Like anything relatively negative or gripey at all in this video is pretty much just me reaching or really pressing myself to think of something, and I don't even know if I will come up with something in this video. It's just everything it should be. Well, we gotta talk about first, out of the million things we could talk about with this movie, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is the epitome of cool. His persona and character is a lot more well realized in this movie, with him being a protector instead of a killer sent to go after John Connor. And by the way, this picture is from a really good chase sequence towards the beginning of the movie. And there's plenty of great shots like this, by the way. You just don't have chase sequences like this in movies anymore. People don't seem, filmmakers don't seem to care as much about that. And it's just so well shot. And then you have Arnold doing the reload twirl with the shotgun as he's riding along, trying to get John out of the way of the T-1000 in the truck. And he's doing that, reload spin thing, and I guess that actually, caused problems for Arnold's hand, because he would get it caught in the mechanism or whatever. So it took quite a bit of practice for this and various other little bits, to get it right, and he went through the ringer. But this, and then on the bridge and everything like that, it just really reminds you how engaging a sequence like that can be, and again, just very well shot. Edward Furlong is really great as kid John Connor. Still not a better version of the character put forth today, that's for sure. And then you gotta talk about Linda Hamilton, who is one of the all-time classic. I don't want to say final girls, but one of those great 80s, 90s heroines. Up there with like Ripley and things like that, who people throw together a lot. Linda Hamilton was just in great shape for this movie, if you can't tell, and she was in pretty good shape, coming back for Dark Fate as well. But this is just like the definition, the picture in the dictionary you'd have for it, for what you'd want her to look like. It's a good transition, from where we left Sarah Connor in the first Terminator to this one. Her in that institution. And yeah, that's one scene they left out of the regular version that's only in the extended version, is a sequence of Michael Biehn, Kyle Reese, where she actually has that vision of him and everything. Why would they leave that out? I don't know. And then there's a scene of Sarah having more confliction over trusting this new Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator model, so she actually tries to destroy the chip when they're looking into it in the garage, which I think adds a lot more accuracy to how she would handle this whole scenario she's been thrown into again. Whereas in the regular version, she just sort of deals with it. Then you get that narration sequence about how John must see this machine, as essentially it's like the father he never had, or someone who won't hit him, someone who won't yell at him, or it's much more well written in the movie. But when they find those allies in the desert of Sarah's, what scene I'm talking about, where she's watching the two of them bond, and you have the high five thing going. But yeah, that's another thing too. The extended version is the only version, or between that and the regular one, that has the Arnold's forced smile scene. And there's a little bit when they're loading up the guns where John asks Arnold, or the Terminator, if he's even afraid to die, or if he has any fear or anything. So it's little bits like that, like you scratch your head over why would they leave that out. And again, you can Google the rest of it. But I think the extended version is definitely the way to go, newcomers or not. But yeah, the movie is just fantastic. Again, Robert Patrick as the T-1000, definitely the best villain in the franchise. He has the right demeanor, the right sort of gaze, but he's not lifeless either. He blends in a little bit more than some of the other villains of the franchise. And I really like how his fingers are work with the stab, right? The the knife type thing he uses, and then kind of duels it at some point. He feels deadly, he feels dangerous. You are on edge when he's near the rest of the group. So I think Robert Patrick was a good choice to go with that. I guess at one point they're gonna actually have Michael Biehn or Kyle Reese play him as like how much I get Sarah Connor and everything, but I don't think it would have been as memorable as it was if it wasn't like the Robert Patrick thing we went for here. And again, just so many iconic shots. Even this group shot where the three of them turn back and look back down the hallway, and of course the beginning where Arnold goes to take the clothes and the bike from the the bikers at the bar. Like I don't know what scene's more iconic, that or he beats up and kills one of the punks in the original. I could just ramble and ramble about so many elements of this movie. And again, probably the best part of it, besides just Arnold individually, is the dynamic between the Terminator and John. Just how it's almost like an Iron Giant, Hogarth sort of thing. Not quite, but I think you could also tell that maybe Iron Giant was a little bit inspired by that as well. Not completely, but eventually as it goes, Terminator starts to pick up on like how John reacts to certain things, and a couple times John tries to explain to him why is it not okay to just kill people, but what is to be sad or hurt or something like that. Difference between that, and then just the line towards the end, where the Terminator says, "I now know why you cry, but I could never do that." Again, like. This is probably the best and my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie overall. But sometimes I'm going to be more in the mood for like Arnold in Kindergarten Cop sort of thing, or Arnold in just something else. But in this, he's not. He's acting like a machine, so you don't see necessarily a lot of range with Arnold in this role. But somehow he still makes it special. He still keeps it from being just like, oh, he's playing a bland, emotionless robot. Somehow he's able to make it more than that, and sort of keep up with what they're trying to convey, and sort of subtly build up with, like Sarah says, maybe the Terminator actually finding the value of a human life, or at least acknowledging and sensing the meaning of, just emotion and care and, love, who knows. So I thought that was all done pretty well without being slammed in your face either. I think it was kind of organically built up throughout the movie. And by the way, this movie, I think, has one of the greatest endings in film history. Just absolutely incredible. I mean, I assume everyone has seen Terminator 2 at this point, but it does make you cry a bit. The music in it, music throughout the whole movie, is just fantastic. It's one of the greatest scores, one of the greatest themes of all time, and they play it at all the right times. I mean, there's a couple times where like there's that generic like horror or dread theme or something. But for the most part, it's really picked out well with when they play the theme and just other bits of music throughout the movie, I guess. You got Arnold with the shotgun is fantastic. Arnold with the Gatling gun at the police station and everything. Not the police station, but when they go to take care of what Dyson had done and stuff like that. I could watch this movie again and again, but at the same time, I feel like it's a commitment. You gotta be ready to just fully immerse yourself into this. I don't know if I could necessarily watch it casually in full. I mean, I could definitely watch scenes, but to do a whole undertaking of the movie, I think you have to be ready to just take it all in and just soak it as seriously as you would any other time. But yeah, like I said, I just think it lives up to all the hype. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more we could talk about that we did in this video. But just to be clear, if I had to rate it, I'm definitely giving Terminator 2 Judgment Day an A+, and that would equate to about like a 96, 97, 98%, somewhere in there. Maybe 99, I don't know, but no movie's perfect, I guess. But the makeup looks really good. Really see the part of the machine coming through on Arnold's face as he gets damaged towards the end of the movie. The practical effects are really, really nice on that. I mean, a couple times from afar it looks a slightly bit odd for a second, but then you can see it's vastly improved to what was still decent in the first one. The CG for the most part is a bit better, and it's just great because they do still try to mix in some practical effects with the T-1000, and it's amazing that here in 1991 it still looks better pretty much 9 out of 10 times than what Dark Fate showed us with the Rev 9 or whatever it was. It's both a great compliment for the work they did here, but also kind of sad for the noticeably less effort they put into current films. But yeah, so again, I absolutely love Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Feel free to comment below and we can talk about more about it. Talk about more, for sure. And I will be reviewing the other Terminator films at some point in the next couple months. I am taking my my fiance through it right now. She had never seen Terminator 2 before. So I will be revisiting the Terminator films periodically with her, and I'll do videos on it when I do. So yeah, let me guys think about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Is it still as good to you as it was then? Is it on top of the Terminator series for you as well? Do you actually prefer the first? I know some people do, but how could you not put this on top? I mean, I appreciate the first one as well, but this is the epitome. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.